Welcome to Small Arms Solutions. Today we have a story time here. We're talking about the Caracal Model F pistols. Now, this is something that, Caracal is a company that many people just don't know about. And they've made some incredible strides and they've made some incredible achievements with their weapon designs. They're out of the UAE and many people just haven't talked about them. I've done videos regarding their 816A2 rifle, 5.56 rifle, which is probably one of the best in the world for as far as durability, reliability. I also talked about their 814A2, which is an internal piston version of the AR-15, which they make as well. And the pistols is one I've been looking to do for quite some time. They just have not had been available to me up until recently. And I have a lot of experience with these pistols going way back. So this is sort of going to be a story time. We're going to talk to you a little about where Caracal came from and the evolution of this pistol. Because it's had its ups, its downs, and now it's way back on an upswing again. And for a lot of good reasons. So in 2002, Caracal opened its stores in the UAE. Now, they had a mandate of manufacturing a pistol for the UAE Army and other Arab brothers who did not want to have to deal with Western gun manufacturers, which we'll get into. And they wanted manufacturing them solely in country. Now, UAE and Middle East in general is now what you refer to as a mecca of manufacturing. They don't have a lot of mechanical or manufacturing capabilities there. So when Caracal went about this, they had to bring in experts from throughout the world, everywhere, including the US, India, UK, Germany, Austria, just to name a few, to bring in engineers to not only design the pistol, but to also set up a manufacturing facility in Abu Dhabi. Now, to bring in some expertise on the manufacturing of these pistols, they called upon Wilhelm Bubitz. Wilhelm is a German weapons designer who's responsible for the Steyr M pistol. And contrary to popular belief, Mr. Glock was not the only designer of the Glock 17 pistol. Mr. Bubitz also had a hand in that as well, although history will not allow us to know what his extent was, but he did a design with the development of that as well. So there were some extreme talents in the beginning, and then towards the middle of the development is when Chris Royce, former SIG engineer, and this other gentleman from H&K came in, and they were part of the team that actually repaired these things to get these things up to par for manufacturing, for the U.S. manufacturing. Now, for as far as design features were concerned, they wanted a striker-fired pistol. There was no question about that. You have an ambidextrous magazine release. Now, there's a slide stop on here, which is very similar to most of the other pistols that are out there. Again, this is a slide stop, not a slide release. You're trained not to hit that to release it, but to hit the slide, pull back, and release. Now, ergonomics. Where do we hear a lot about bore access from? We hear that about Glock. One of the things that made Glock a more controllable pistol was its lower bore access than your average pistol, especially compared to the SIG 226, the Beretta M9 of those days. However, this design went that much further. They went with a 111-degree grip angle, and your bore access, which is your arm, which is the muzzle to your arm to the back, you're looking at about a 0.71 inches from top to center of grip. Now, what that does is it gives you an extremely reliable pistol, and it gives you a very controllable pistol when it comes to muzzle flip. Muzzle flip we talk about when it goes up like this. By having that lower bore access as it being in line with your arm, you have less muzzle flip, and they also assist you on getting rapid shots off on target. They also wanted a cold hammer forged barrel. They also wanted a rail interface system, or a 1913 rail. Now, the slide, for as far as options were concerned, they wanted both fixed, which we have here, fixed sights. We also have adjustable sights, tritium sights, and then we have what we see here, which is referred to as the quick shot sight system. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes, but if we look at the difference between the two, we have no rear sight back here. The sight is manufactured into the receiver ahead of the ejection port, so you have a much shorter sight radius. This gives you a much quicker sight acquisition because you have far less field. This is excellent for quick sight acquisition, but if you want accuracy, you want the longer sight radius. So they're sort of for two different jobs, but there are two different options that they did allow. Now, for as far as the safety system is concerned, very similar to Glock in a firing pin safety. You have a trigger safety, which is we see right here, and you also have a drop safety. Another safety that they added to here as well, I don't always say it's a safety, it's more of a feature. When you pull the trigger and you have a cocked striker, you have a post that protrudes out of the rear, so that tells you that you're in a cocked position as well. Now, all the parts on here are plasma nitride for as far as all of the internal parts for corrosion resistance and reliability. And you also have a total of 28 interchangeable parts here. Now, just getting into a little bit of the technical aspects of it for as far as the specifications are concerned. Again, 9mm caliber. We have different sight options, as we just stated. We have iron sights, which are fixed. We have adjustable. We have tritium night sights. We have quick sight. The slide length 7 inches. Barrel length is 4.1 inches. We have a width of 1.1 inches. 4.1 inch barrel. Cold hammer forged, as we previously stated. Magazine capacity for this particular one being the full sizes is an 18 shot. And those of you who are in occupied states, you do have a 10 shot one as well. And the trigger pull is consistently at 5.5 pounds, very similar to what Glock has in their standard models. We have internal safeties, cocking indicator, and ambidextrous features. So let's get more into the chronology that goes along with the development of this pistol. 2006, after completing the AC225/D14 testing, the pistol was then subjected to the German Federal Police Standards and the German Federal Armed Forces Technical Purchasing Requirement testing, which are the most stringent testing that we know in the world today. And it had passed both of them. By the end of 2006, Caracal International LC was incorporated into the UAE and Abu Dhabi. This was the first time that a Gulf Cooperation Council country or Middle East country was set to manufacture weapons in the Middle East. Of course, we're not talking about Israel. We're talking about other Middle East countries that are Arab. 2007, the pistols were unveiled at the International Defense Exhibitor, IDEX 2007 in Abu Dhabi. The first 25,000 pistols were ordered from various Gulf countries and police for military use. Caracal F was also adopted by the UAE military. Bahrain and Jordan is our new service pistols. 2009, Caracal delivers its first pistols to the U.S. market. In May of 2009, ATF issued an import license. Soft launch was scheduled for 2010. 2010, the first pistol sold for an MSRP of $499 with the standard sights and $525 from night sights. Then in 2011, Caracal's first time exhibiting at the SHOT Show, where 10,000 pistols were sold through the U.S. distribution and allocated for a sale in 2011. Then comes sort of the unpleasantness, which, quite frankly, I think was handled extremely well by Caracal, was the recall. In September 9th of 2012, recall was announced by Caracal International for the F and C pistols. This followed the full investigation of a safety problem, which was regarding drop safety. They offered either a full refund for the retail price or they were offering credit towards other Caracal products. The initial recall operation included a trigger bar change and 2 pins in the trigger safety. And not having operations in the U.S. was also a problem. They were working with Steyr at the time, and Steyr did not have the ability to deal with doing a full retrograde or upgrade. So basically, they stuck with just giving refunds and then giving credit. So then in 2013, Caracal changed the pistol models to the CP660, CP661, CP6662, basically similar to the FC and SC models. 2014, Jeff Spalding was appointed Caracal USA's their manager to U.S. operations to assume responsibility for managing the recall operations of the Caracal pistols. 2015, the changes the pistols made it back to the original F and C designations. And all these new models had the updated 2 pins and the updated safety, so that problem was no longer in existence by the time this came out. The Model C was sort of discontinued due to the fact that Caracal was specifically working on military contracts which wanted the full-size F pistols. And by the end of 2015, Caracal had basically acquired and brought back 90% of the pistols that they had recalled, which is pretty astronomical, actually, for as far as the numbers were concerned. So now comes another interesting aspect to this. I visited Caracal in 2015 in Abu Dhabi. I was there working with another company who was visiting them, and I had the opportunity at the time I was writing for Small Arms Review to go through the factory and to take a look at all of their weapons. Now, I've been to several manufacturing facilities in the U.S. and throughout the world, and I was literally blown away by this one due to the fact that it was completely, utterly brand new, state-of-the-art. And as we walked through the facility, we were able to see every aspect of it, which normally, say you were to walk into Colt, you're not going to find screw machines, you're not going to find the chrome plating being done in-house, you're not going to find some of the heat treating, you're not going to see the molding being done. You're not going to find that because they basically farm that stuff out to job shops, which is what U.S. manufacturers do. Very few gun manufacturers in the United States manufacture everything in-house. They have job shops that they do that with. Well, again, because of the way Caracal was in UAE, they didn't have that ability. There was nobody they could farm that out to, so it all had to be brought in. So some of the first things I noticed with this pistol was I got to see the molding capabilities. Basically, we saw the actual mold that they used. Then the machine injects the polymer into it. The polymer comes in these little pellets, which is pretty cool. And then they come out in halves. So you have a right half and a left half of the frame. So you're able to see that. And then they assembled two of those. And we went and we saw they assembled the trigger modules. Because again, these have trigger module very similar to that of the SIG 516 and the Beretta APX. It's actually a trigger module that drops in place. Watch them assemble the slides. And then we actually got to go see the Cold Hammer Forge machine, where that Cold Hammer Forge machine at that time, its sole purpose was manufacturing barrels for the Caracal F pistols. Then we got to go back and see where they were the test firing. And finally, we got to go see the packaging. Now, another interesting aspect that I saw there was, again, because of this issue with drop safety, they were very, very picky, and they tested ongoing, just always to verify that there was no more drop safety issues. So when I was there, I got to watch a couple of the drop safety tests that were being done. They were being filmed in slow motion, and very done in a very scientific way, which is the way engineering testing is done. It's not just just dropped any which way. You have to basically say, this angle so many times, this angle so many times, that angle so many times. And of course, if you have to deal with standards, military standards, it will tell you at what angles and what sides and what distances and whatnot. But we're going to show you a video, not of that testing, but one of the more recent ones that was done with the American pistols that was done by a third party, for testing.
Drop 2. Dropping 3, 2, 1.
Now, when you do manufacturing, your internal testing doesn't really mean a whole hell of a lot, because a lot of times it's not reliable. If you have engineers or you have people out there who don't want to do things over, or who don't want to get in trouble for not doing their jobs, they're going to say, no, everything works fine. When you go out to a second or a third party that's outside of your company, they have absolutely no dog in this fight. So they're going to give you a clear, unbiased report of how these things function, whether they did or whether they didn't, which of course it passed. So, visiting the manufacturing facility there, I was very impressed. And then I got to go to, it was a gun club that was out there. It was based off of royalty. I forget what it was called, but it was like the King's Gun Club or something along those lines. But we got to go out there. We had the Caracal pistols. We had 1,000 rounds of ammunition that was manufactured in the UAE, because their ammunition was made to a military spec, which is also how this gun was manufactured, was to that military spec ammunition. And it caused some reliability issues with some of the hollow point ammunition that was eventually fixed as well. Because again, these are designed as service pistols, which are designed to fire ball ammunition, not truncated cone or not, ogive types where you have flat noses. But we had the military ammunition, and we went through 1,000 rounds, myself and my partner who I was with there, within probably an hour or two. And we're showing you the targets that we had. The one thing that I regret not being able to show you is I had the video, but I can't find it anywhere, so I look for it everywhere. We did a comparison between muzzle flip with the Caracal F versus the Glock 17. Basically what we had was the way the bricks were on the range, you had a straight line. We lined the top of the slide up right with that line on there, and as we fired, you could actually see how much the muzzle was going up according to that straight line. I'd carried Glock for many, many years, so for me to go and do this testing and see the results, I would have had to have seen it to believe it. There was less muzzle flip with the Caracal than there was with Glock. The Glock, even though it had a lower bore access, this was lower, and it actually did give you less muzzle flip, enabling you to get off quicker shots accurately. For as far as accuracy was concerned, between the Glock 17 and the Caracal, didn't see much of a difference. These were both very accurate pistols, but there was definitely a difference in the way that grip angle was. So let's move forward to 2016. Jess Baldwin becomes president of Caracal USA. Now, Caracal joins a partnership with Wilcox Industries to manufacture Caracal rifles and pistols in their New Hampshire facility in Newington, New Hampshire. So this was starting to be set in motion. In 2017, Caracal USA was at SHOT Show, and they showed their first U.S.-made enhanced F pistols. And they had, of course, everything was made but the frames and the serialized, those parts came out of the UAE. Now, 2018 came a very big change. Caracal USA begins full validation testing with USA-made pistols. 100 units were sold through commercial distributions. Well, Due to Wilcox Industries being a U.S. government contractor, they had received several contracts. And due to that, they had to compartmentalize their facility, and they could no longer house Caracal. They had to have their own facility. So now Caracal set out to have its own facility in Idaho. 2020, Caracal exhibits at SHOT Show. Their own weapons company, highlighting their relocation to Idaho and their new projects and their new capabilities. However, COVID hit. When COVID hit, it put them off nearly a couple of years of getting their facility up and running. 2023, Caracal USA establishes all supply chains here in the United States. September 2023, completion of all pre-production, and now the U.S. pistols have passed all top U.S. and NATO AC 225 and D14 testing. In 2024, Caracal USA exhibits at SHOT Show for the first time since 2018 with their Model F pistols, and they're being commercially available with an MSRP of $549 with both standard and quick sights, and of course $629 if you want a tritium sights. So this sort of gives you a chronology of the Caracal F pistol. Again, we're starting off in UAE with just a military pistol. They start getting into foreign militaries, getting sales there, production, which is in UAE, and then getting some guns over here to the United States, setting up with Wilcox to get production over here. We have that issue with the recall, the way they dealt with the recall, and now to full U.S. Manufacturing here in the United States in Idaho. And now these pistols are currently available. So let's talk a little bit about the range. Well, we took this thing out and I shot 600 rounds through this, and several of those we had 6 or 7 magazines that we fired just as fast as we could, just to check reliability. And we had no malfunctions whatsoever. Accuracy, as you'll see from the targets, was excellent. The pistols were very, very comfortable to shoot, as expected, and as I remember from shooting them in UAE. The pistol on my right here has what's referred to as quick sight system. What that basically does is it shortens up your sight radius, as you can see from here to here, versus a standard pistol that's on the rear of the slide. What this does is you draw up, you're able to draw your sight picture quicker because these sights are much closer together. Now, certainly firing these pistols, I definitely do agree with that. For any kind of a longer range shooting, this is definitely your better option. But for closer up with using the quick sight, this is definitely a superior system. So let's give this one a try. Most of the rounds I shot through was the F. That was one that I was most interested in, being because it's a military pistol. However, I have to say I was very much interested in the quick sight system as well. So again, taking a look at that as well, you can see how your sights go from here to here for the F, and the quick sight from here to here. And I have to say, again, when you would pull up really quick and pull up, it's able to get it on target much quicker. So again, for a quick sight system for a self-defense condition under shorter ranges, this is certainly an excellent design. I'm quite fond of it. Myself, I still would tend to go with this because, again, you have the longer sight radius. This particular pistol has the night sights on it as well, so this would be the best of all worlds for as far as I'm concerned. But we're going to take this pistol apart and take a quick look at it as well. But the reliability and durability was there. Again, drop your magazine. Check to make sure it's clear. Again, we're going to dry fire the pistol. We're going to pull down on the locking latch here. Slide it right off. Captive recoil spring. You have a much thicker recoil spring than you do on the Glock pistols, which gives you a much more durable, more bearing surface, a longer lasting recoil spring. And we pull our barrel out, and there we have it. Okay, so in here you can see, again, your machining is flawless. We have our firing pin safety. We have our striker. This is a different mechanism, obviously, than what you see on the Glock, so this is a whole different animal. But what I really want to talk about is the frame. Those of you who have Glock pistols, you notice you only have 4 tabs of where the slide rides on the frame. So if those aren't necessarily concentric, you can have your slide binding a little bit, and that'll affect the way that it moves back and forth and affect your accuracy somewhat. Again, like the APX and like the SIG P320, you have a single piece module here, but you have a full length rail from beginning to end. So that is riding very, very smoothly, internal rails. As you can see in here also, the ejector is part of the rail, so your chances of that breaking are very, very minimal. And again, you have a very simple system in here that works along with the striker. You have your arm right here for your firing pin safety. Very, very simple pistol. Your serial number, which is part of the trigger module, as you can see through a window here in the frame, polymer frame. Again, Caracal, USA, New Hampshire. So this would be probably one of the older pistol grips, still made here in the U.S. And of course, your magazine, very similar to anything else. This is a metal magazine instead of a polymer magazine. Now, why do we prefer having metal magazines on these pistols? They drop free. You have a metal magazine catch. You have a metal magazine. They don't swell, unlike Glock magazines. The later Glock magazines, the original Gen 1s, they would swell. You actually have to pull them out. Some of the magazines still to this day you may have to pull out. By having the steel magazines, they don't swell. No matter what happens, they drop free all the time. So that's certainly one of the benefits of having a steel magazine. Again, this is also a steel magazine release too, so you're not going to wear those parts out. So again, for reassembly, very simple. Drop your barrel right back in. Insert your recoil spring. Drop on like so. There you have it. Now again, when you pull this back and forth, this is very, very smooth, and it's very, very tight. You don't have a lot of play in it as well. You also do have a live cartridge indicator right here. Again, it's not very useful due to the fact that you have to have light that's in there. Very sleek, no sharp edges. So overall, really an excellent pistol. And again, we had no malfunctions with all that ammunition that we fired. We had magazines. We both had some of the Occupied State 10 shot, and we had the 18 shot as well. Worked very, very well. The quick sight, as I said, it does work as ordered. If you guys are looking for more of a compact or more of a concealed type, I'd take a look at the quick sight. I'd give it a try. It's a very unique type of a sight that you don't really see too often. In fact, I really can't think of too many pistols I've ever seen a sight that is like this on. This is sort of something that's very, very unique to Caracal. Even with the quick sight, you still have your your black rear sight, and you do have your front sight post, because as you pull this thing up, you're going to be concentrating on your front sight post for a close quarter condition or for a really close close shooting. So you do have your tritium lamp in there, and you have a very large opening here as well. If you look at if you compare the two sights, your openings on your rear sight is much narrower on your standard pistol versus your quick sight. Again, it's larger, so you can get that much quicker sight picture. So again, they shoot excellent, reliable. They've survived every bit of testing that's ever been put at them. They've gone through all NATO tests. They've gone through the German tests. They've gone through U.S. SAMI spec testing. The problems have gone away. The testing has been done on a drop safety that's long gone. You have to say, Caracal, you have to really say they did a great job of the way. A lot of manufacturers do have recalls. The difference is how you handle a recall. You can pull a Remington and know you have a bad trigger for years and years and years and do nothing. You can be like this company and say we have a very small percentage of these pistols that are doing this, but we're not going to put our customers in jeopardy. We're going to absorb the cost, send them all back to us, and let us fix them. So every manufacturer, I don't care who they are, how good they are, they all have bad product that can get out. They can have some design issues that can get out that they don't catch. It's how they handle it when the problems exist, and that's where I really would say Caracal did a wonderful job on dealing with that. So I'd also like to thank our friends over at Challenge Target who provided us these targets, steel targets that we were shooting at. And again, it's a hell of a lot more fun shooting at steel targets than it is paper, especially when you can get that instant feedback. If you're looking for some steel targets, we have a code, SAS, to save 10% off of all the steel targets they have on their website. Hope you guys do enjoy this video. If you do, please click like, please subscribe, and even better, share.